Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hickson. I am your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI, and I'm here with another episode on Thursday morning, just about one day, 24 hours removed from Arizona State men's basketball, seeing their season come to a likely end. Um, it's still possible that the Sun Devils take part in the NIT tournament or the Crown basketball tournament in Las Vegas as they did last year, but it's more unlikely than not, knowing that head coach Bobby Hurley is officially on the outs. Um, the era is over. His contract expires on June 30th, but he is being placed on administrative leave for the next 2 months. So the next 2 or 3 months, so they can realistically move on, find a new head coach, and do all the roster building that's needed in the modern era of college basketball with the transfer portal. I believe the national title game is April 6th, and the portal opens the day after. But Arizona State players will be allowed to enter the portal earlier than that due to the coaching change. So it's pretty important that they find a head coach sooner rather than later, hopefully within the next week or two, so the coach can build up a staff, get the boosters uh, connected, get the fan base invigorated for the offseason, all of those things that go into leading a team that is a program that has had more downs than ups over the last 50 years or so, but also a program that showed a lot of promise under Bobby Hurley. And there is real potential to be a yearly NCAA tournament team uh, in the Big 12. You just need the right man for the job, and you need to commit more resources to the program, which it seems as if there will be more willingness to do that due to the $100 million renovation that was committed to put in for Desert Financial Arena. It should be completed in the next 3 years or so. That's very, very promising. At the same time, um, like I said, you have to find the right man for the job, and that leads me into discussing the five candidates that are supposedly very, very high on Arizona State's wish list in this cycle. And um, if you aren't familiar with the current hierarchy of reporting locally, John Gambadoro is one of the most reliable insiders in the local sports scene. He listed five candidates that I had previously floated myself. Not to take credit for something that got officially reported, I was just report floating names out. Um, Josh Schertz, St. Louis head coach, was named as a prime candidate. So was Utah State head coach Gerard Calhoun, Portland State head coach Jace Coburn, New Mexico head coach Eric Olin, and St. Mary's head coach Randy Bennett. Um, all of them bring something different to the table in terms of potentially leading a power conference program. Um, Josh Schertz is probably number one on my list if I were to rank them in terms of who I think would be the best hire overall with everything considered in the process. He's just 50 years old, so the table is set for him to be a coach for the next 2 decades or so if everything works out. And um he's really, I know it gets overused a little bit, but he truly is a program builder. He started out head coach in the D2 ranks. Um, he had a lot of success there, obviously, but there was skepticism if he'd really make that jump from D2 to D1 successfully. He rebuilt Indiana State in 2 years. He has rebuilt St. Louis in 2 years. Those are two programs that have had past success as mid-major powers, but they had fallen on rough times, and he really re-energized both programs. He's a great talent evaluator. He's a great recruiter. A lot of his players came to followed him to St. Louis, so that tells you what his team thinks of him for the most part. He would be my number one hire. The only concern is, are there other jobs that he would take over Arizona State? I know Syracuse is probably going to be interested in him, and potentially others. Does Arizona State make a pitch that is comparable to the others? Um, I'd probably say Randy Bennett is probably number two for me, if I'm going to be 100% honest. I know there are some drawbacks that people are looking at. I think the ASU fan base is largely intrigued by the option. I mean, you look at his 25 years of winning at St. Mary's, he built them from a program that was nothing, that really had nothing, into a very, very respectable mid-major program, one of the best ones. His talent evaluation is off the charts. He seemingly brings in international players every single year. Um, Players that are off the radar, just a lot like what Bobby Hurley did this last season. He's a great tactician. He manages in-game situations very well. He's coached in 18 NCAA tournament games, and he's a native, so he knows the landscape here. He knows what it takes to win. There's a lot of things that are going his way. The only concern is that he is a little bit advanced age-wise. I believe he is 63 right now. So the question is, how much longer will he be committed to coaching? Uh, I'd say hire him if he's willing to go for at least 5 years. I think that that would be enough time for him to really lay the foundation to turn Arizona State into a potential power program in the Big 12. If not, Iowa State, Texas Tech level, maybe a peg below them. We'll see. Jared Calhoun is my number three. Utah State has quickly become one of the prime places for coaches to cultivate a profile and make us jump to the next level. I think Calhoun is probably a stronger coach than um, Danny Sprinkle, who went to Washington, is, who he replaced. But Ryan Odom at Virginia, that's an example of a coach that you really see climb through the mid-major level, and then go to the power level and just absolutely have immeasurable success from the get-go. Um, Number four on my list out of those five would be Eric Olin. He did a really, really, really good job in transitioning UC San Diego from D2 to D1. They almost took down Michigan in the tournament last year, 30-5 record. He's done a good job in New Mexico on the first year of the tenure. They might miss out on the tournament, but still, it was pretty messy moving on from Richard Pitino so abruptly. And um, he would be a solid hire. And also something of note is that he grew up with Graham Rossini, so there's that connection, and that possibly gives him a chance to better connect in terms of selling his vision. So we'll see what happens there. Number five is Jace Coburn, Arizona State graduate, a lot like Kenny Dillingham. He coached locally. He moved on to Portland State, and he's been their head coach for about 5 years now. This is the first year where he's really broken out at that to a degree that it catches people's attention. Uh, his passion and drive are a lot similar to what Kenny Dillingham provided from the get-go. The one concern with him is that he's only coached at Portland State for a few years, and he just had his first really successful season. Is he ready to make that jump yet? I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be mad about that hire either. He's just probably last on that list. and that would probably be how Arizona State views it as well. Um, that's really all I have for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning into another edition of the Sun Devils Insider podcast, and I will see you with another episode tomorrow. Thank you so much.